I grew up in Long Island, New York. I'm one of three girls, middle daughter, in a part of Long Island called Stony Brook. I learned how to be tough. It prepared me for my career on Wall Street. Let's just put it that way. My dad came home one day and said, "We're going to move to England." So when I was 12, my family moved to Surrey, England for 3 years, where I spent a lot of time learning how to be independent. Being in a foreign country was a big adjustment. And I think having that experience enabled me to deal with unknowns or adversity or change. And I think that was a big part of who I became. My dad, who unfortunately passed in October of 24, was an incredible role model from every aspect of his life, but he was very successful as a corporate executive working in finance. And to me, he was God. I just couldn't be prouder of who he was. I think watching my dad's downfall as, you look at his career was just heartbreaking, but not fully understanding the magnitude of what it meant for me. But I soon realized that I wasn't going to be able to go to college with my parents' support, and I wound up getting student loans and going to night school and putting myself through undergrad predominantly by working full-time as a secretary. And I was determined at any cost that I would finish college, and it took me about 6 years in total. I knew that if I didn't work hard, if I didn't get a college degree, that I could wind up with nothing, and that fear drove me. Housing picked me. It was fortunate, very happy that I wound up in housing. But I started my career in investment banking and corporate finance. I was in a 2-year program, and that was the job of everyone's dreams at the time, to be in investment banking. I was one of 70 analysts that started out, one of 3 women. But after the 2 years, most of the 70 analysts would go on to get their MBA, 95% of them. And I decided I would too. I needed an MBA, and I was going to try to get the MBA like everyone else at the Ivy League. So I applied to Harvard and Stanford and Northwestern, got my GMAT scores, and unfortunately didn't get into any of those 3 schools. And I needed a job. I was going to be out of a job after 2 years. So I started looking internally at Zelman Brothers, where I was working, and there was a lot of job openings. And one of those openings was for an associate in research working and covering housing. So I needed a job, wanted to pay my rent, got a good recommendation from people within corporate finance, and here I am, 30 years plus later, still doing housing. I was concerned that the housing market was frothy, that affordability was very stretched, and because I was concerned and negative or cautious, there was a lot of management teams weren't too happy with my views. And whether I asked questions on conference calls or I was at physical meetings, it got contentious at times. I didn't know that they were behind my back calling me, some of them jihad, and making fun of me, and someday she'll be right. But I stayed the course for over a year and a half before I got vindicated. It was unfortunately the beginning of the end was when New Century filed Chapter 11 in March of 2007. A lot of people unfortunately got hurt during the Great Financial Crisis. That was pretty rewarding to finally be right, because I spent many nights with tears and crying over being wrong, and having a lot of people, even internally at Credit Suisse, as well as management teams, as well as clients that were not happy with my views and my calls. We as a firm pride ourselves on excellence and being right and having differentiated research. So everyone's mission was the same, is that we're not going to be like every other Wall Street equity research firm. We're going to not just write notes on individual stocks. We're going to get deep. We're going to dive into thematic topics. We're going to find proprietary angles that would provide more value to our client base and to the industry. I think about an empowerment that drove success for them as well as for the firm. Family is really important for me. I've been blessed with 3 incredible children, my 3 Z's, Zoe, Zachary, and Zia. And I think that if it wasn't for my relationships, along with friends that I've had since, elementary school to middle school, that support system that I have in place, I really leaned on those friends and family members. And I think it's important that you have an infrastructure in place where you have those people that you can count on. And to this day, I don't know what I'd do without my girlfriends and my sister and people around me that I know love me for who I am. I want the California Builder Foundation to know how grateful I am for this honor. I feel like I've come full circle from the kid who people didn't believe in, and now to have the respect that the industry recognizes what I've achieved is an incredible honor, and I'm grateful.